I'm here with Maggie McDonald of Pure Life Studios. Would you care to give more of an introduction?
I thought that was perfect. Thanks, Errol.
Okay, so what is your formal title here?
My formal title is Venue Owner, Music Promoter.
Venue title, music promoter. Okay, so what do you do in LaGrange? What does that entail?
What does it entail? It entails working with artists, musicians.
Okay.
I've had them from all over the world. I've got a woman that we're working on getting from Sweden. I've had a guy, Hiroya Sakamoto from Japan, and April Birch from Canada. And we just get all kinds of people in Hillside neighborhood. They're original singer-songwriters, and they perform their original music. So we kind of showcase that. And they're writing jingles, they're writing for movies. Sometimes they write for bigger artists. You know, I have this guy, one of our favorites, Jeff Black, who comes through, and he has written for Waylon Jennings.
Okay.
And I've had people write for country stars, from Jake Owens to, oh gosh, I can't even think of all the different, Winona Judd and all the tops to writing for themselves. And so it's up and coming, or artist, or it's someone who just likes to be a little bit behind the scenes and write for other people and movies and things like that.
Okay. And who would you say is the most well-known person you've had through here?
That's a good question. It varies. I've had Jennifer Knapp, and a lot of people know her from the 80s. I've had Travis Meadows, who's current. Then I've had people like John Barry, who again is from the 80s. Jimmy Hall, he's from Wet Willie. He currently travels with Jeff Beck. In fact, they're coming to do our 5-year anniversary, which is in February. It's a sold-out show, but it'll be John Barry, Jimmy Hall, Donna Hall, and they're in the Music Hall of Fame in Georgia and in Alabama. That's with Barry Waldrop and Kurt Thomas and Kelly Johnson, who are award-winning songwriters. So it's going to be a fabulous show. But yeah, so we get a plethora of variety. And John Barry is actually a Grammy winner. And then we have John Tavius, who was Grammy nominee, and we'll find out this month what happens with him. So it's exciting.
Would you say the advent of Sweetland has helped or hurt you as a small business owner?
Well, initially I think it hurt because everybody gathered over there. The first year especially, it was new and it was exciting. And now I think that we're kind of both finding our own audience. Some people do prefer the intimate, smaller venue. And, I'm rain or shine. So, it's cool in here in the summertime and warm in the winter, and we're protected from the rain. So I think those things take into factor. I've had people who had tickets for Sweetland. I've had a show that same night. It, was ending up storming, and they came here instead. So yeah, I think it's a good thing. I think having this variety from a big venue to a smaller venue, and I've talked with Kiel, and we have talked about working some different magic together. We have yet to do it. We're both crazy busy, but I think our intentions are set on what we'd like to do in the future together. And Becca Island started that. She was always very warm and welcoming and inclusive of Pure Life when they started. Yeah.
So what would you say you're most known for in and around LaGrange? Is it this place?
It's definitely music. My husband and I also own 28 rental properties, and I manage all those. I don't think I'm really well known for that. People know that, but the biggest is 28. So it gets a little hectic sometimes because it's unpredictable. You don't know when there's an emergency. Like right now, before our interview, I all of a sudden had a delivery guy saying, "Hey, we're early. Can we deliver this?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, no." Some things can be last minute and throw a wrench in your works, but it's okay.
Well, how long has Pure Life Studios been here in LaGrange?
So I originally was a holistic fitness and nutrition studio, and then over about a year period we moved into music. And that came about from a girl named Angela Hutchins. She was a a student scholar at LaGrange College, and she kind of resurrected the acoustic cafe that was through LaGrange College for years. I did not know she was a student scholar, and we were working together, and we're trying to get this thing going down where Cart Barn is now.
Okay.
And then Dash wanted to start charging us, and I said, I've got a place around the corner. Why don't we do that? So we would rent tables and chairs and bring them in Friday, and then tear it down Saturday, and I'd do my fitness in the afternoon, and it just kind of cycled like that for quite a while. Angela ended up graduating, and she left, and she's a fabulous musician herself. She goes by Ani, and then I just kind of ran with this and met Barry Waldrop. And he introduced me to 5 artists. He said, I'll give you your first 5 artists if you're interested and you really want to do this. I said, I really do. And he did. He introduced me to 5 people, and from there, I think what happens is artists follow a circuit, and they'll look and they'll see, oh, there's Kelly Johnson. Where is she traveling? And so that artist will call that venue and try to get a gig. So it kind of snowballed from there for me, and that's how I fell into it.
Okay.
So.
What do you think about you personally has helped make you successful?
I think that my ability to learn and adapt.
Okay.
This isn't a category that I was necessarily trained in. It was something that fell into my lap, and I was open and receptive to the idea and learning. For example, I had no clue how to run a soundboard. At the time this evolved, I was singing with a friend of mine, a dear sweet friend, Laura Smith, and we were this little duo and played in a couple places around town, and she helped me learn the soundboard. I had no patience for reading the manual, and I had to learn quite quickly, and she was there for me. So she taught me, and then I just kind of took things from there, and once I understood that basics, then I could start reading about it. My son, Samuel McDonald, he's a fabulous sound person. He's always throwing words out at me, and I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. You got to change the language because I don't know what you're talking about. But, if he gives me descriptions of what something should sound like instead of saying dBs or, whatever, I get it. But it's been kind of funny, and I've had to be open to that. Or posting. I didn't even know how to post on Facebook. I would hound Henry Jacobs, and I would say, show me how to do this. How did you do that? How did you get this video? How do I, and so I had all these people in the community that I relied heavily on, from photography like Amy McDowell to Whit Perry to Ray Sullivan, helping me all along the way, just kind of understand how all this looks. So I had to be really open and humbled numerous times, just not knowing what to do, not knowing how to do it.
Okay. What advice would you give someone to pursue a career similar to yours?
Let's see. I would just say be open. I mean, if you're truly interested, you'll find a way.
Okay.
I can't say that there was one specific thing. I was truly interested, and I opened myself up and just became extremely vulnerable, and watched other people and asked them for help, and people were very open and receptive to helping. Some people weren't, but most people, they want to help.
Okay.
So that would be my advice, is don't be afraid to ask for help.
Okay. You asked me if I was born and raised here before we started interviewing. I wasn't, but were you?
I was not. I was born and raised in California, and I worked for the airlines, and I was an inventory analyst. And I went out to a party in Nashville, Tennessee, and fell in love with Tennessee, and went back that Monday. Looked at all the jobs they had available, applied.
Okay.
Went back on a Friday, got a position, and 2 weeks later I was living in Nashville, Tennessee.
Okay.
And met my husband, and we got married and moved to West Virginia, and here to Georgia. We started in Douglasville and then ended up in LaGrange.
Douglasville's still a long way from LaGrange, though.
Well, my husband really wanted a piece of property on the lake, and he found one. We kept looking between Wadowee and Lanier, and for whatever reason, we fell in love with this little piece of property, and it was the old CNS Bank building, and apparently everybody has a memory. You know, everybody has a story. Either they got drunk out there and they fell in the pond, or they caught a big fish, or they did Boy Scout camp out there. So a lot of things of, you know, a lot of stories come out of that place. And we ended up buying that cabin, and we would close the house down in Douglasville in the summer and move into the cabin. And we just started making trips into LaGrange, and it was pretty much boarded up at the time. This was I want to say 20, but I'm more like 18 years ago. And nothing was really open, but we fell in love with the area. And when my mother-in-law died, that was, my father-in-law was living in Virginia, and he said, find me a house on the lake. I want to live on the lake. And we did. We found him a house in LaGrange, and he moved sight unseen. And we thought if he did that, we can at least move down the road. And so we met him here and became neighbors, and it was great. Yeah.
Who would you say are the 3 people most influential to you? That doesn't necessarily have to be your career.
That's what I was going to ask. Because career, it would make a difference. Influential. Well, it's funny. My kids are very influential because raising kids tend to open up a whole new world because they're being raised in a different generation. So just interactions with people have changed from when I was a child. So they're pretty influential on saying, oh, I need to change this. I need to try this. Or if I've made a mistake, I can go to them and say, was that right or wrong? And they'll go, ooh, that was wrong. And, you know, typically if I don't get an answer from someone, if I've made a mistake, if they don't tell me, oh, well, you don't do this because of this, I can go to them, and they're great at helping understand things. So they're influential in the fact that they're current and they influence how I see the world. Number 2, influential, that would be, it's people typically close to me because they have an impact on my everyday life. So I would say my husband, Charlie McDonald, has been very influential. He's a strong leader, and he has good sound advice, and when I feel frantic in my head, he stays pretty level, and that's been helpful, and it's helped me want to project that out into the world. 3rd, I have a handful of friends that have been more so just examples and who I want to be, and they just kind of role model. It's kind of funny. You know, so I think more role model than influential, I guess. But will that work?
Yeah. All right. So what is one common myth that you want to debunk about your field?
You have to know what you're doing. I mean, you know, I had a lot of people, not a lot, I had a handful of people say that, you know, you really should look into this, you really should know what you're doing. And what I found when I go to different venues to talk to them, I was so intimidated, it actually made me freeze. So I had to regroup after about a year of tears and pulling out my hair. I had to regroup and set in my mind that I wanted to do it my ways, under my terms. After all, that was the freedom of, you know, working for yourself. And so once I stopped seeking advice, I actually figured it out. You know, my way. Like there were no rules. I could make them up. So I would say my advice is just, if you love it, you're going to figure it out. Going back to the original statement we talked about earlier.
All right, back to LaGrange. Since you moved to town 18 years ago, what do you wish you had known when you got here?
We moved here 12 years ago. 18 years ago, we started coming up to the area. But once we moved here, I wish I would have figured out how to get more involved earlier. I'm very social, but there's a part of me that needs a lot of downtime, and I think we live on the lake, and I think living on the lake has kept me home.
Okay.
And it tends to make me run a little lazy, like I just don't want to leave. Once I'm home, I love being home.
Okay.
And when the kids were little, it was fun. And so I would say I try to make myself get out a little more and be more social.
Fair enough. So what's your favorite story about living in LaGrange?
Well, I'm not from the South, so a couple funny things have happened, just little odds and ends. One summer my dad came out and he stayed out at the cabin, and there was a local here who came over, and they got in a conversation. He kept talking about the whale over in the yard. And my dad was itching his head, and later that evening he said, I just shook my head like I understood what he was saying, but I don't know what he's talking about, the whale. I don't see a whale out there. I said, it's a well. So the funny things to me are adding extra syllables. You know, my girlfriend, we sat one day, I said, remind me of your mother's name. And she goes, Lan. I said, Lan. And she goes, no, Leon. I said, Leon. She goes, no, Lynn. I'm like, oh. So things like, there's a lot of little pronunciation things that I think are quite humorous. They tickle my funny bone.
Okay, you can't say this place. So what's your favorite spot or place in LaGrange?
I mentioned earlier I love the lake.
Okay.
I like being on water. I grew up in California on the ocean, and there was a lake there as well, and we'd go windsurfing, and I learned how to surf growing up, and we sailed and did all kinds of stuff. So definitely being on the lake is my favorite.
Okay.
There's a bunch of neat little spaces. I like to be able to be up and see things. And a girlfriend and I discovered one night, for whatever reason, we were driving around wanting to get some pictures, and we went up on the parking deck at the Marriott Hotel, and it's actually quite pretty. The view up there, like the Baptist church on the square of the clock, it's just the way it's lit is really pretty up there, and you can just kind of look down the traffic, and I think it was around Christmas time, so the light, it's just really pretty. So I find peaceful places like that are great.
Huh. I had not considered, like, that actually does sound really pretty.
It is pretty. I mean, you say parking deck, and nobody really wants to make their...
But no, that sounds actually really pretty. I hadn't considered going up at night, but...
Yeah.
All right.
There you go.
So, all right. What's your go-to order at your favorite LaGrange restaurant or bar?
Oh, it gets pathetic. This is where it gets really bad. So, I love Beacon. I like their fries that are fried in duck fat.
Okay.
I'm a sucker for them. Every time I go in, they're like, oh, we got you covered. They know what I want. I love the buffalo chicken salad or wrap at Venucci's.
Okay.
I love the deviled eggs at Marsol.
Okay.
I love the charcuterie board at Seasons when they had that. I love 505. They've got a beet salad that I really like. And let's see, they have a couple things there that I really like. Yeah, I like the beet salad, but they also, the muffletta, that's what it is. Muffletta.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Okay. Favorite thing about living in or around LaGrange?
Everything's so accessible, and I think the people are extremely friendly. Yeah, I like that. I like everywhere I go, I see people I know, and it's comforting. People ask about you and your family, and
that's a common thing I've heard.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's a precious little gift in this area.
Yeah, that's a common thing I've actually had come up over and over again.
Yeah. Is
the small town feel, the big city amenities in the small town.
Absolutely. I would say that's right.
Yeah. All right. Hidden gem in LaGrange that no one else knows about, and you can't say your place, though it is a small gem. A hidden gem.
It is. Yeah, I hit myself trying to think of something for that, because there's just like little stops. and I don't know if they're hidden because it's so small and we talk about it. There's neat little features around. Like I said, the parking deck's a neat little place that people would never think to go up there. Or even down here at Hillside, the gathering place. It's just got a neat vibe in that old building. It's just a structure with no windows or anything, but trees are growing up in it. And there's something about being in those spaces that just kind of bring a calm over you.
Nick Mayfield actually mentioned that one.
Yeah. Nick, and there's another musician, great musician.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've got a lot of them here in LaGrange. Really good.
All right. What are you most excited about right now?
I'm excited about a few things. We've got one of the behind the mask candidates, Quay Body, running for King candidate. And we're having a fundraiser here. And I'm excited about that. I like seeing the community get involved. And he's got a really fun view on that. His is kind of like a night at the Apollo. We're having just a variety show. And he's called a handful of people around the area to come and perform. And then we'll probably pull some people out of the crowd as well. And so I think that's going to be a fun night. My 5-year anniversary, you know, because we've got some heavy hitters. It's a sold out show, but I really look forward to that because the energy is going to be fantastic. The music, there's, unparalleled. It's going to be an amazing evening. So I look forward to those evenings.
Awesome. Favorite beverage?
I like vodka tonics from Marceau. And seasons because I make them strong. A good glass of wine and a dark beer. Those are probably my favorite beverages.
So what's your favorite dark beer right now?
Right now, I like I've always liked Guinness Stout. Love the Wild Leaf line. I can't remember from time to time. I can't drink a lot of beer. It absolutely kills my stomach, but I love it. But I like almost everything they put out, from their coffee, IPA to, yeah, it's good stuff.
Best MacGyver moment? Do you have one?
I'm always doing quick little fixes, but I don't know if there's some stealthy thing that sticks out.
Stand out?
Yeah, that just like, holy cow, she's amazing.
Is there anything I should have asked you but didn't?
No, not that I can think of. I thought that was pretty thorough.
Where can our listeners connect with you?
Facebook, Instagram, and I've got a website. It's purelifelagrange.com. And it lists all our shows and what's coming up and what's happened in the past. Definitely.
This has been Maggie McDonald with Pure Life Studios. Thanks for listening.